So today we're gonna move from using our resource and learning how to expand our awareness and in essence how to start holding multiple objects of our attention in our awareness simultaneously, and how this can be a practice that what happens is that initially, as we are placing our attention, let's say, on very specific things, like our resource, like our breath, that we do that practice of, titrating, right? Where we're sort of looking at it, sort of looking at something. Maybe it's an unpleasant sensation that appeared in the body, and we kind of look at it from the corner of our attention, kind of gaze at it, and we see how much we want to titrate, or as Linda said, ease into it. We don't have to go all full board, right? And those were some of the talks that we did with titration and pendulation, sort of going back and forth from something that's a little bit more unpleasant, fearful, unsafe, to something that you feel, some place that you feel you can place your attention on, that you feel comfortable and safe on, right? And there's this seemingly distinction where we place our attention. So it seems like, right, I'm placing my attention on the resource, and then I'm placing my attention over here, and then I'm placing my attention on the resource, and then I'm placing my attention over here. And that's what we've kind of done, right? Where it's sort of like these distinct areas. Almost as if you had a flashlight and you go out into the dark, and your light can only see where the beam of the flashlight is going out to. And then if you hear something like over there to your right, you turn it. What was that? And you go, oh, it was nothing. Okay, back. I'm walking down the path. Here I am, right? And then the quality of the flashlight that actually has the ability to, you know how like if you turn the light goes from like a narrow to, it opens it up a little bit, right? That's exactly the thing that we're gonna with our attention. And it feels as if initially there might be like a ping-ponging, like where you are doing where you are kind of going like from this to this to this to this. And the practice, we're going to do something very, very basic, but it's very subtle, but it's super profound, because it's the initiation, it's the starting of being able to expand our awareness to hold everything that is happening simultaneously in the present moment. Whether it's thoughts, emotions, sensations, feelings, whatever it might be, that we can be with it all, as opposed to focusing the attention and saying, okay, this is what I'm doing. So it's sort of like this, it's almost like we're relaxing our attention a little bit, but still holding our resource, where that's sort of the main focus. But we're sort of taking that energy, the focus, and we're like relaxing a little bit to include something else. And initially what it might seem like is, it might seem like you're bouncing back and forth, like you're ping-ponging. And if you do it frequently enough, right? So imagine like you are taking a flashlight and you're going from here to there, 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 from here to there. And you do it so quickly that then it just seems like the light is actually taking up the entire field. And what happens, what happens in the space that you are perceiving everything is that it might seem as if you're ping-ponging, going from placing your attention in different areas. And then there's sort of a coalescing, almost like there's a coalescing, like where you're placing your attention starts to coalesce with another area. And it's as if you just took that light and it was a really sort of finite beam and you just went, all right, now you have the, oh, wow, I just expanded my light. I see more. It's not just there. Right. And that's the same thing of what this practice is. It's a little bit of a silly practice, to be honest with you, because our awareness is innately already expansive. We just don't perceive it that way, unfortunately. Okay. So imagine, so a good analogy of this is that awareness is space, right? So I'm going into an area. Let's say I'm going into a field, and there is awareness is already present in the field. It's the space of the field. Now, I say, hey, this is a good place to build a home. And I start building a home on this field. The space that had already existed there now all of a sudden gets compartmentalized into rooms, right? And I say, oh, that space is the bathroom. But prior to me building the bathroom, it was still space. And after I build the bathroom, the space that makes up the bathroom is still space. It's not identifying itself as a bathroom. I'm just identifying it as a bathroom because I put walls on it and have created this thing and put a door and said, in there, you go poo-poo and pee-pee. But the space is like, dude, I was space before you put walls here, and I'm going to still be space after the walls come down. My space is not changing. But you're identifying me as the bathroom, and so therefore I'll play along with your little game for a little bit of time and say, okay, I'm the bathroom. And because there's a wall between this, all of a sudden now there's a distinction between this space, which is I call the bathroom, and this space, which I call the bedroom, because there's a wall that sort of puts it up. We do the same thing. All right. So that's why it's a little bit of a silly exercise, but it's necessary because what it's starting to allow us to do is to start breaking down those walls that we've created, that society has created, that cultures have created, and to start having a relationship with space or awareness that was prior to us even manifesting as physical beings. Okay, so if you go into a big field and all of a sudden the space is there and you build a home, now you've just compartmentalized this space and have started calling it different. You started calling the rooms of the home different names. The space doesn't identify with those names. We do, but the space doesn't. When a bulldozer comes around and knocks down the walls, the space that was present there is still present. Nothing happens to the space. But we're going to cry because the walls have come down. And our home is no longer there. But the space is still there. And the space is the analogy of that is the space is the awareness. And we build these walls as we're born, as we come into existence, that we build these walls. We're told what our name is. We identify with our name. We're told that we're a boy or a girl or anywhere in between. We start identifying. Maybe we don't, and we're confused. And maybe we identify with something else or not, or whatever it might be. We grow hair. We don't grow hair. We shave. We put on different types of clothes. We experiment. All these are sort of like the walls that are starting to be put around us. That we start to then compartmentalize ourselves into these physical beings. Okay, and it really starts from your name. You are an individual entity. Well, maybe that might not be true. Have we ever thought of that, right? So in order not to say that we're going to deconstruct those today, although that would be an interesting exercise. The simple entry into expanding your awareness so that you go from, oh, I see a wall, interesting, to being able to feel, let's say, the space. If you open up the door to your bathroom and you're sitting in the bedroom, the space is all connected. Doesn't matter. All right. So that's going to be our practice today. It's going to be a practice where we start from our resource and then we bring in a body part. Bring in a body part that maybe you like, that you feel comfortable with, not like what you might consider to be your worst body part or something. And you'll see where we go with this. And it's subtle, but I never liked the word subtle because some subtle practices are the most profound that you can do. So even though it's subtle, it does not mean that you will not feel something. It does not mean that it's ultimately profound. And it's one that you can practice and practice and practice and see with time as you get this sense and notice that your awareness will start to feel as if it is expanding. But really what we're doing is we're just taking away the barriers that we have put up, and awareness is starting to show itself in its real form.